And if the lightning struck 10 feet away, it's going to go right through the water and kill all of them. No different than if you're in the bathtub and somebody throws a plugged-in toaster that that's on in the water. Same thing. So that's kind of where my mind goes right now, unless it's some sort of ritual killing, like they all decided to die together. Maybe there's that. And this is also, what was it? It's not the McStays. It's the Jameson family. They were found deceased. Their dog was starving in their vehicle, and they disappeared. And then later, they were all found. We just still don't know the cause of their deaths. Maybe it's like that. Of course, a lot of people think that was some sort of ritualistic killing or something. I've never heard that it was a murder. Maybe they got hit by lightning. All right, let's Marlene, I know I'm super late. Hi, everyone. Love the polo shirt. Oh, I'm glad you noticed, Marlene. Yeah, this is the polo shirt. This is a shirt that my sister made for me. Actually, it's a regular black shirt, and she stitched in the logo here over there. She's very talented. My sister Diane. Yeah, love this shirt. It's a one of a kind, Marlene. There's only one like this in the world. But Marlene, you're allowed to be late. You can always watch the replay. Let's go on to this Friday's episode. The disappearance of Brenda Sica, S-I-C-A, from Huntsville, Alabama, sometime in early July 2017. It could be the 1st, it could be the 2nd, it could be the 3rd. On the Charlie Project and on NamUs, it says the 3rd, but it very well could be the 1st or the 2nd. Brenda Sica, she was going through a tough time in her life. Although earlier in her life, did well in school, went to the Air Force, military veteran, but as she got, she's right around my age, and in her early 30s, things started to go downhill, got caught up in some drug activity, and it was something that she couldn't seem to shake for many years. Got in with the wrong crowd, quit some jobs. And she had moved to Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama in 2011, maybe for a change of scenery. She was originally from right here in Florida, but that didn't seem to help. But she ended up living in this apartment complex called the Overlook in Huntsville. However, she was not paying for it. She had gotten a boyfriend who was married, and he was paying for it. And she had moved in early 2017, and he was paying for it. She was like kind of a kept woman there. Didn't have a job, not hanging out with anybody. And as you will hear her sister Carrie, who is the guest, talk about, nobody ever went to visit her up there at this apartment complex. Then seemingly out of nowhere, she decided, you know what, I'm going to move. Now, maybe the precursor to this could have been because her married boyfriend was allegedly getting deployed, so he wasn't going to be around. And she thought, well, if he's moving out, he's going to be going out, he's going to be overseas or whatever, well, then I'm going to move too. Well, so allegedly she moved out, never to be seen again. Now, her sister did get some emails from her after that with the help of this married boyfriend. His name is Jim. But as you will hear Carrie saying, I'm going to be posting the texts, the words from those emails before Friday. Carrie partly believes that they're from Brenda and partly doesn't believe that they're from Brenda. But after that early July, Carrie, nobody in Brenda's family heard her voice. But in these emails, Brenda says that she was with a new guy and that she was in Wyoming. No proof of that. I looked for it. No proof of that. So she is still missing a little over 4 years later. And the last email that her family ever got from that account is allegedly her was sometime in late August of 2017. After that, no idea. The episode's title is The Apartment, because as you will hear in the interview, and I did a lot of research on this one, there is at least reason to believe that she never really lived in this apartment complex in Huntsville at all. Nobody remembered her. Nobody remembered her moving in. Nobody remembered her moving out. As some of you know who have used databases and looked up people, missing people, you know how you can go to certain places and find out all the addresses they've lived at over several years. There's no database that I could find that ever said that Brenda lived at that address. And in fact, her boyfriend, and I know his last name, even though it's not being used in the interview, his name is not connected to that address where she was allegedly living at all. Nobody ever went to see her at that address. There just seems to be something up with that. And so that's why this episode is being called The Apartment. And yes, maybe it's a little bit of an ode to the film that got the Academy Award in 1960. It was also called The Apartment. For somebody who just popped into my mind, but it seemed like an apt title for this because Carrie and I will spend quite a bit of time talking about Brenda allegedly moving into that apartment, living in that apartment, and then seemingly allegedly moving out of that apartment. And so how there aren't a lot of facts to even prove that she lived there. So once again, this is the disappearance of Brenda Sica, S-I-C-A, somewhere around the early July of 2017, Huntsville, Alabama. The episode's title is The Apartment, and the guest will be her sister, Carrie Valle, and she is in the discussion group. In my summation at the end, I do talk a little bit about databases. And how I use them, the techniques that I use and rules to follow, being that I went through so many of them for this particular disappearance and trying to figure some of these things out. So once again, Brenda Sica, S-I-C-A. Charlotte says if that family got struck by lightning, wouldn't there be signs of it? Maybe not if it's indirect, Charlotte. Once again, there's a difference between direct and indirect. Direct lightning would be like you sticking your finger in an electric socket. Indirect would be you being in a bathtub full of water and somebody turning on a hairdryer and throwing it into the water where you are. That would be indirect. Both can be lethal. But in one, there's going to be a lot more signs of what happened than the other. Once again, indirect and direct. Puma says the Crime Talk channel on YouTube has almost daily updates on the South Carolina case if anyone is interested. Thank you, Puma. All right, so what did we do tonight? Talked about disc golf. Of course, we talk about every week. Talked about me going to see a sports psychologist. I enjoyed it. I think I'm going to get a lot out of it. Talked about my George Foreman grill. It's been beautiful here, but it's been raining too. Taylor Park has been soaked. The new Iron Maiden album. I'm going to see Judas Priest this weekend. Looking good, feeling good. Hair looking spectacular. The Susie Lyle poll regarding Israel Keys. Steve Pankey, my talk yesterday. The newsletter came out last week. Dr. Telesco's show last week. The presentation I'm putting together for school appearances that are coming up. Unfound being on Unhidden Gems on Amazon. Talked to Leslie, the daughter of Ronald McNutt, about what's going on with the DNA testing. Talks about this thing going on in South Carolina with the Murdaughs, the family in Yosemite. Took some questions from Joe and Lori. And then finally finished it up with this Friday's episode, the disappearance of Brenda Sika. That's all I have. Spectacular show, if I do say so myself. All of you keep your head on a swivel out there, and you will hear me on Friday. And on Sunday, some of you will see me in the think tank In the meantime, keep your head, like I said, keep your head on a swivel. Give this video as many likes as you can. Subscribe to this channel, patreon.com/Unfound Podcast, paypal.me